Hello, everyone. Um, my name is Dana. My pronouns are he, him. Tonight we are playing Spoken Magic, which is a game by Dylan Grinder. It's available on itch. Link below. um, Today, I will be playing Almair, who also uses he, him pronouns. Uh, my magic is Purveying. Uh, I learned magic over many years by, uh, let's put it by purloining the letters and books of other sorcerers, basically self-taught. And I've known Udor for many years, though mostly through our letters, only having met them in person this past year. Um, so I think that is enough about me. So let's get a quick round of intros from our other players and their characters. Let's use character keeper order. Um,
Okay. I'm Mads, she, they pronouns, and I'll be playing Terith, they, them. And yeah, Terith's magic is elementally based. It's the color of gray green to storm blue and back again. And they find stone being a very unforgiving and stressful element to use.
Uh, my name is Chaotic, and I use he, they pronouns, and I will be playing Udor. Their magic is restorative, but unlike the many other types of wizards and sorcerers in this world, they don't cast magic in normal ways. They draw it from themselves and give it to others. It is loud and they don't use foci or anything of that nature, and it's like everybody's just not very pleased with them, but it makes them happy. Um, I've known Almir for many years, but again, we've only met recently. I don't know whether or not that meeting was entirely positive or not, because we don't know much more about our characters than this. So let's see.
okay, great. So at this point in the game, so we've already uh, drawn our words and given them some meaning. I guess we will go into that when we first have to cast a spell. But before our journey can begin, we need a place to journey from. So I'm going to draw a card from the locations deck, and that is going to be our home. So this location is a fracture and a an element of that is forbidden magic. I mean, that suddenly makes sense, right? So we go around the table, taking turns describing an aspect of this home and why we are leaving. Do you want to keep character order, or does someone feel like they really want to jump in and add some detail right now? Chaotic, you've unmuted, which is a clear signal.
Yeah, well, let's do character keeper order, because it definitely, with Almir's profane magic, it just seems to fit better.
Sure, that is fine by me. Um, I think the aspect of our home which I would like to detail is the wards that are everywhere. So it's like every paving stone in this town has a ward on it. It's not true, but it just seems like that. Because in the past, we've seen forbidden magic um, out of control here. And I mean, the power of these wards has faded or was used up to combat a particular forbidden magic, but it's kind of a warning to everyone who is here, um, that some things are dangerous. Um, maybe I'll add a. I think we should go around to add aspects and then go back around to add the reason we're leaving, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I think our home is also in some sort of cleft valley where it looks like way long ago in the ancient times of our world that it was already split by an unnatural occurrence, perhaps some sort of magical energy war or something to be able to create this wide enough cleft in our surroundings to be able to house our community, our town, our city, whatever it is. And they, ever since it's almost like magical radiation, they've had to set up these wards to try and dampen the effects. But obviously, we do see the effects because we all have some sort of magic here.
Mhm. I think as a sort of general manner, I think there is just a general tension throughout uh throughout the I think just this place, the fracture, like it's quite literally like that various factions in here are like a fracture of the city and whatnot of like people don't really talk to each other too often. I think that's probably why like we've only really spoken through uh, Zolmir is just like to cultivate any friendship. You can't be really as direct as you might want to be.
Okay, great. Um, so why am I leaving? Um, I mean, I think it's maybe it's too obvious, but I think um, my propensity to get into trouble has finally caught up with me. You know, I have um, been far too obvious and direct in my dealings with other sorcerers here, and um, I've been made to understand that if I know what's good for me, I better leave.
Why does it feel like every time I'm in a game with you, Dana, that like your characters are always the roguish ones that get into some serious trouble? Oh my god. Anyway.
I can't speak to last week, but you were the one getting me into that trouble.
Well, hey, I mean, you know. Yeah, so I think I think Tareth is leaving here because again, the wards are failing and they were there to tamp down on the forbidden magic, the ancient energies that were running rampant and just causing more havoc than could be controlled by any of us or even us together. And I think because of the community growing, I think it's going to implode because the wards have been fading. And so Tareth has been feeling it. You know, the elements here are calling out that unless people leave, it's soon going to again implode upon itself. So she will be, excuse me, they will be one of the ones to make their way into the wider world and see where they can use their powers, their magic, to again make their way. Just like find a different life away from here.
I think for Udor, it's probably just a lot of different basic reasons of like, oh yeah, people just don't like Udor as a general manner, like because Udor is a little bit more brash than anyone like it. Uh, some of Udor's friends are leaving the city. It's generally just an unpleasant place to live. Um, I'm also kind of bored of my day job, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't think Udor would know what he does. Like he does like a lot of just like odd jobs, and it's just like it's not just one reason in particular. It's just a lot of different ones.
Okay. Um, does that mean we are friends? I think
I think
if
so.
we're yeah okay if we're both kind of vaguely in trouble for the same kind of attitude and we're both leaving at the same time, then yeah, I mean it's still maybe a little bit uncertain, but yeah,
Mhm.
road trip, right? Okay. Um, so I think we can maybe get started on the next place to be, and then maybe take a break. Um, so we take turns. Now on your turn, we draw a location card. We describe a scene at the place you have journeyed to based on the prompt. Um, the scene may involve the other characters, and we can, ask the table to provide some extra details, or we can roleplay through a scene. Um, and once we're satisfied with that, we draw a problem card to describe the issue at hand based on that prompt. We discuss who the problem affects and why, explain why the problem must be solved with magic. Um, and once we have established the problem fully, we start with the magic. So maybe we can start with the location. And before we break, we might draw the problem card so we, you know, something to mull over in our head. So let me draw our first, or well, our second location. So this location is Oblivion, and the prompt is what was lost. Um, I I think above Fracture, several miles, maybe half a day's journey. Um, at the top of this ravine where the world was split open back when Fracture was founded, we find this spring kind of emerging out of the mountaintop from nowhere. Um, but beyond that, there's like a road that just vanishes into thin air, like it just runs off a cliff. Um, and I mean, obviously, the cliff is going to be um, dangerous, but I think this is almost like a byword in Fracture for like going off into oblivion. It's like take that road that goes nowhere. Um, uh, Tareth, do you want to add anything more to this scene or the place itself?
I mean, there's been rumors, of course. Any that go past or to the road to Oblivion lose memory of Fracture because it is essentially leaving the world that we've always known. And so, yeah, the rumor is once you leave, you can never return because you'll never be able to find your way back.
Udor, how about you? Any details to add to the scene?
I think just like looking down at the cliff, like I think we see Oblivion itself sort of nestled in this sort of like imagine like sort of like it's been sunk into the ground a bit because like a lot of like the ground material is like made of slate that is of a black color. So like it's almost like we're disappearing into like a deep pit. So a bit spooky.
Nice. Um, so maybe we'll play out a scene when we get back, but for the sakes of our future selves, let's draw from the problems deck. Um, so yeah, this game is definitely on our side. The problem is an inky darkness rises. Um, so yeah, let's leave that hang there for a while. Okay, let's take our first break. I'll pause the recording. Okay, so we're back. Um, so yeah, I think. Do you think we want to have some role playing right now before we describe the problem, or as we describe the problem? Um, or do we want to just jump into that inky blackness that is rising? Not literally, storytelling wise.
Do we want to do a paint the scene on the whole inky darkness rising, or do we want to just say pick someone who this actually affects and why?
Um, yeah, I mean, it might be something to have a quick kind of initial scene as we reach Oblivion, and then kind of start introducing the inky blackness, and could then kind of switch to describing the problem mechanically, or as the rules suggest we should. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think Almair, maybe reaches the rise of Oblivion first, and kind of looks around um, at Tereth and Udor as they reach him, and I say something like, "I mean, this is how we get that town behind us, right? That's what people say."
Town behind us and the wider world ahead of us. We just have to take the leap, supposedly.
I mean, these who paves a road with slate? It's like at the very least it's dangerous because it's so slippy, but like it just looks weird, right? I mean, it looks like it's too dark. Do you see that in between like in between the individual pieces of slate, it looks, I don't know, like bitumen or something too dark.
This may be the only thing that could, well, withstand time or stay on top of whatever else this is. And this is just fictional positioning, but I mean, like Tareth will just kind of maneuver their fingers, and you see the air underneath their fingers shimmer just a little bit, and they close their eyes as they murmur, and this just feels very slippery and oily underneath the slate anyway. Udor, what do you think?
Well, for starters, I think that that it could be a way that tar may be used, because that is also another instance of things. However, it does seem to almost move beneath the surface, which is very fascinating, and I want to get a hold of it, but it keeps on creeping out of reach.
Do you think maybe we, as we're fixated on this one point where it's kind of staying away from your grasp, like the camera pulls back and we kind of see this tarry substance like rising up out of the
Mhm.
gaps in the slate, as if to kind of surround us or
Ye-
envelop us in some way.
mhm. Yes, like I think like Udor is like on his hands and knees and just like creeping along, trying to like lift like a little bit of slate, just like see it like scoot away, but like and just like it's not paying attention to it, like literally I think almost rising up in the air, like
We see the
above us.
shadow. Yeah, we see
Yeah.
the shadow start to creep up over us as you're looking down, we're looking down at you, and what's that? And then Tarot's eyes will rise and then look behind. I think we have company.
Oh, it's much bigger.
Okay, so uh, so I think the way we have described this problem is maybe affecting us all.
Hmm.
Yes.
Do we think this is like this magical oubliette which will like suck all the memories of fracture out of us? Do you think it's that straightforward, um, that simple, or do you think there's something else going on?
I think this is just a residual effect of, like, being on the edge of fracture. I think you don't necessarily lose your memory until you're past Oblivion. Like, you take the leap, you follow the road, whatever the hell it is. But this is just kind of like that. Or maybe it could be like the actual memories
Yeah.
created, sentience. And so therefore it's like, ah, more memories
Mhm.
in the form of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh no.
Have either of you seen the webcomics Stagtown?
Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah. Like it, in it, it has something very similar to what's happening here,
Oh boy.
and it's so sweet.
Cool. So I guess we all contribute a word.
Yeah,
One
so
of
let
our
me read
words.
this out,
Hmm?
just so we know where we're at. This is the first time we've done it.
Yeah.
Casting spells. So, working collectively, select which words you want to commit to the spell and in what order. No player may commit more than one word to this spell, but at least one word must be committed to each spell. So, I guess that means if we want to push our luck, one of us could contribute, or two or three, depending on how. much we want to make sure of. As each player contributes a word, they describe how its meaning will help or hinder the spell. When you've completed your spell, the current player recites the words and describes its magic, rolling one six-sided die for each helping word and one four-sided die for each hindering word. If one of the dice rolls a six, the spell is successful, and the current player describes how the problem is solved. If none of the dice rolls a six, but one of the four-sided dice rolls a four, the spell fails and goes awry. And if no dice show their highest number, the spell is weak and only partially effective. And we describe how the problem is solved, but only partially or temporarily. Um, so, um, so collectively, select which words you want to commit to the spell. So yeah, this seems worrisome to me. um, I wonder if I wonder if I might contribute my word Azarosa, which repairs or restores, and maybe this helps put all of this goop, we can call it all of this tarry substance back to where it belongs.
Hmm.
I think adding on to that, I think I'll use Zerum, a, a fount of abstraction, because this is memories made manifest, that I can control the flow of them to go back into the ground.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then I think, keeping with that theme, I think I will use Callum. Let me move mine there. Yeah, I'll move Callum into that mix as well. So this way, like the rainwater can turn into a torrent to help wash it, wash it back and wash it away. Yep. So we have to figure out how to put the words together.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
better.
So I mean, I think in some way maybe Zarosa is like the last word in the sequence. You know, once
Cool.
we get this back to where it belongs, like the slate kind of shuts over
Mm-hmm.
at the end of it.
Sure.
Um, do we think that the torrent of rainwater is what drives it back, or is it kind of the that abstraction, the Zerum part, which kind of starts that process?
I think the Zerum starts the process
Mm-hmm.
because like it goes downward,
Yep.
and then Callum like washes it away from us, and
Yep.
then
Sarosa.
Zerosa is like what seals it.
Nice. I like it.
Okay, cool. So, um, so what
So
does it look like when we cooperate in this way? Have we ever done this before, or do we have to like chant the words, or hold hands, or do some kind of not for Odora maybe, but do we have to kind of work through some focus?
I mean, maybe it's like it's almost like a holographic type or magical display, where as each of us say our word, it's a matter of like seeing what it is come into come to life, and then being able to move our particular word vision into place, and once it locks, then it will create the fount which washes into the rainwater torrent, and then it'll wash this thing away into wherever you decide to put it, and you will restore or repair uh, where it came from. Just out of curiosity, like I obviously know what color my stuff is, but I mean, like what's everybody else's color?
Um, I think my color is this kind of blend of like at one extreme maybe leathery brown, and at the other extreme this kind of papyrus white. Um, my magic is beige.
Profane beige. Oh,
Yeah.
great. Eudor, what is your font like? Start off as.
I think it is. It doesn't show up as a color at first when I shout my word because like the shouting is the important fact. It's the sound, it reverberates and whatnot. But then as the word takes form, it turns into sort of a golden hue like sunlight.
Nice.
Okay.
And it
Awesome.
can rain during sunshine. So.
Um, so like when that final word Zarosa locks the slate back together, I think that sense of oblivion that we had when we were walking along that path, it kind
Mhm.
of disappears or at least dissipates a little bit. It like kind of looks normal again, like we would expect slate to look, and we
Mhm.
don't have that sense of, I don't know, vertigo that we had when we got up here.
Okay. Did you
Um,
roll?
I no, not yet.
Okay.
Well, I rolled three threes, which is magical in and of itself.
Right.
So
But
when
no dice show their highest number.
yeah,
The spell is weak and only partially effective.
yeah,
Current player describes how the problem is solved, but only partially or temporarily.
um, and I think that moment of the when it's locked in and we get this kind of sense of freedom from Oblivion. Um, like a heartbeat later, we hear this like thumping underneath the slate. This thing that we uh, dissipated and trapped is now feeling, manifest in its anger at us for having trapped it. And we can see like cracks start to appear in those slates, not in the uh, not in between the different pieces of slate, but like maybe in the some of the slate pieces themselves, like these hairline cracks and the slate. And yeah, I guess we gotta make tracks before it bursts out to take us all.
Yes.
Okay, so once the spell is complete, if two or more words are committed, the current player gifts one of the committed words to another player. So I think we need Zerum out on the table as well, because the other part of this is that all the other committed words are gone. So we like turn them over and we put them to one side. We don't use them again unless a spell allows us to. So I think I am going to. So I'm going to just put all of the used words on the top. But I'm going to gift Zarosa to Udor. I think a repair or restore uh, magic word is exactly up their alley, right? And uh, maybe it's like a harmonic of the lightest golden color of theirs with the kind of most washed out beige of mine that kind of gives them ownership over it. So Karik, you can grab that card from the board. And the other thing we need to do is dump Zaren into the section of the world pretty quick. Okay, cool. So that is what else do we do after this? We discard the problem. I'm just going to leave all the locations in order so that when we do our return trip at the end, we just have them in order. That's okay.
Oh,
So
and
that's our first.
you would keep
You would keep them in front of you, and then when you do the reverse order, you kind of retrace your steps that way.
right, but I mean, does that mean that Zerosa belongs to Udor now?
Sorry, that the word card. Yeah, so that is now in Chaotic's hand, and you can use that now. So um, the words that we have used already, we could put like a line through them just to remind ourselves, but the card is no longer in our hands. So
Okay.
um,
Yeah, let me do that. Give me a second.
I will
Cool.
not strike through that just so you can read it. Okay. Okay, so that's our first location. That's our first turn. Mads, you're next.
Okay.
So we flip a new location card,
Okay.
describe the scene, and then go through the problem and then the spell.
Okay. So, new location. Thunder Valley. How we pass the time. Too funny. Okay. Let's see. Going back to location. All right. So I think once we are beyond Oblivion, like whether it took a dip and maybe I want to say, if it's all right with everybody, I think like when we take that vanishing path down, it's not necessarily a leap, but it sure damn well feels like it because I mean, like, we have one foot suspended and we're not sure where it's gonna go, but then we end up going 90 degrees and we're facing straight down and gravity is not what we think it is. We're still staring straight down, but then it looks straight ahead to us because of the angle that we're at. But then when we look above from where we came from, it looks like it was a cliff. We just happen to be perpendicular to the side now. And we're walking down and then we make it into from the fog and the mist here, we make it into what I guess becomes Thunder Valley. And it is it is still misty, but more on the cloudy day kind of thing, and we hear thunder in the distance, as if a storm is brewing.
Do you think we're passing the time by just trudging through the rain, or do we have to wait for something and pass the
It's
time that
very
way?
humid. It's very humid here, as if a storm is going to break, but it hasn't yet. And I want to ask if do you feel walking this path? Do you feel that we are in the wider world yet, or are we still in some kind of transition state?
Are you talking to me?
Both.
Okay.
I think. I think for this particular place. I mean, like, as you look around and we're walking on this path, it sounds gravelly. It sounds like um, stones and dirt underneath our feet. What makes you think that we are still in some kind of transition state and not necessarily in the wider world yet?
Um, I mean, I think there's signs that say maybe there's some goats, right? Um, but no signs of goat herds. Though it's there's not a large flock. Maybe there's a handful here and there scattered around the valley. Um, there's got to be a goat herd somewhere, maybe out of sight. But that in itself tells me that this is kind of a liminal space, used by another town or civilization, but not really too out of the way to be considered part of them proper.
I mean, I think there's enough room for all of us to be walking abreast if need be, or, in pairs, or one in single file. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, it's not like hot, like heavy underbrush or growth or like, really broken terrain. It's just like this uh, uneven ground that kind of like lulls in this pocket valley, I guess. Um, yeah, I think Tareth will turn to you both and say, huh, I wonder how far we've truly come and how much farther we have to go to get out of this place.
We'll ask the next goat herd unless we get hit by one of those slingshots they're so fond of.
Wait, slingshot?
Yeah, goat herds use slingshots, to keep wolves away and such, or dogs or people.
Wolves away, yes. People.
People who might take their goats.
Right. Hmm.
I guess so long as we don't pick up one of the goats, we're not taking goats.
Yes. I mean, Tareth just looks at you like, why do you know that? Because, like, they've never really seen a goat herd take out their weapon or
Yeah, yeah.
anything before. It's like, what?
Um, yeah, it's amazing what you can find in the footnote of some wizard's, travelogue. Um, yeah, some people really go in for the slice of life kind of details.
Hmm. I'm not sure if I want to know what kind of magic they would do with goats, unless it's just describing where they live.
And Almer lies and says, "Yeah."
What do you see here, Udor, that makes you think we're in that still in a transitional space? Mute. It wouldn't be a game without technical difficulties. Come on now.
It looks like it definitely Zoom and not like hardware or anything.
Yeah. Ooh, weird. Uh, with the caret, the arrow pointing upward, does it give you the choice of your microphone plugged in? No shit. Weird. Device settings. Do you have the do you have your microphone, your headset under one of your device settings for sound? Oh, I heard something. I don't know if that's me or no.
Do you want to jump out and jump back in? And
Okay.
turning it off and turning it
We'll be
on.
back with a word from our sponsor.
Well, that's the surreal estate game, right?
No, I'm just thinking. I was like, I've been watching a lot of like videos lately, like just like the short, not actual plays, but shorter videos, and they usually have like and it's like But before we get to this, then we're going to talk about the today's sponsor, and I'm like, oh my god, hey, yeah,
Well, you're not muted anymore on
on
Zoom, but
right.
obviously we're not hearing you. So
I wonder what happened.
I should
Okay,
pause the recording because no one wants to watch this.
yeah, as opposed to yeah.
Okay, so we're back after technical difficulties. Um, okay. Um, so yeah, that question is for Udor.
Yes. I think in terms of transitional properties, I think it's more when we're walking on the road, like it just seems to keep on going and doesn't really have like any sort of difference in like going from one place to another. Like it's like sort of almost stagnating and just like I think Udor is just whistling a tune of just like, oh, it's gonna rain soon. That'll be all right. Like we can get a little wet. And just like it's just very pleased to be like out here rather than back there. So yeah.
So unless you two want to trade notes on anything, probably could see if there's a problem coming up.
I'm happy. I'm happy to see a problem.
All right, let me go ahead and draw. Ah, what is this? Legitimacy in question. Hmm. Oh boy. I mean, my mind immediately went to like, are you who you really say you are? That's the first thing that came to mind, and I'm like, how did the hell does that work? Um. Uh. Anybody else have any ideas of how this becomes a problem?
I mean, we maybe we're not supposed to be here, right? We've no legitimate reason to be traveling here.
Mm.
Mhm.
We're all trying in our own way to escape something.
Yeah. And because it got mentioned previously, like about like goat herds, like using slingshots to throw stones. I think I think Udor, while just whistling, I think a rock comes like flinging out in the distance, hits Udor in the head, and just like Udor just goes down. It's just like just yelling ah, and just like it's just more surprised than hurt of just like and it's like I think this is why like Udor's like robes have are like kind of a little bit more messy and just like that sort of thing because like 9 times out of 10 like whenever Udor is in any trouble whatsoever is that you hit the dirt like get close to the ground you'll be safe there. Lightning, go to the ground. um Bears, go to the ground. um Angry mob, go to the ground. They may ignore you, so it's fine.
It's interesting because, like for under trouble stirs, it says discuss who the problem affects and why, and explain why the problem must be solved with magic.
Mm,
Hmm.
yeah,
Because none of
that's
us are fighters.
yeah,
Oh man. Yeah, none of us are arcane warriors, as far as I know.
I mean, do you
I might be closely, but I'm like as distantly as you can go. But that's about it. Hmm.
so do you think this is a problem that affects all of us? Like none of us should be here, or you think this is and Udor is just like the trouble magnet and got hit by random chance, or do you think this is something affecting or targeting Udor specifically?
I don't know. I mean, like that's a question. I mean, like because again, like legitimacy in question. Like is this truly Udor? I mean, like when I look at that question, that's kind of like what I'm thinking. It's like if they were attacked, I'm like, why? Um, do we want to say it's something as mundane as like these goat herds that pop up think that Udor is somebody that they're not?
Um, so when I originally framed the kind of Almer Udor relationship, I had thought that maybe it was because Almer hasn't been in town for a while, but then it was like everyone in this town doesn't really talk to each other, and maybe sending letters across the street is the way you communicate. But now I wonder maybe Udor is not from um, Fracture. Maybe they're from this valley or something like that.
possibly because like so far like the stuff I've detailed so far seems like Udor is not like Fracture seems like to be a proper city, and Udor doesn't like cities for some reasons.
Right.
So yeah, it would make sense. Like probably Udor may be from around here, and it
Oh, oh. How about this? It's like you are from around here, and maybe these goat herds or something like that are like starting to accost you because it's like you left them in the lurch. Either you were trying to help them before because you were from around here, or it's like they thought you were getting above your station by trying to go into fracture, and then now you're back, and now they're tagging you for it, kind of thing.
yeah.
I mean, either way. I mean, like
Mhm.
whichever one you think is like works, or none of them. I mean, like that's fine. But that's the only thing I can think of like when I'm looking at that problem card of legitimacy in question.
Um,
Um,
yeah,
Go ahead, Chaotic. Yeah.
I think that's more of like a question of like not if Udor is Udor, but rather is Udor a wizard?
Oh,
Because it's more or less of like Udor is a little bit of a fool and just like it's a little bit goofy. So it's just like wizards are serious business, and Udor is anything but serious business. So it's just more or less of like you went into the city and what have you come back from it? Like it's been like at least a couple of years, and like you really haven't gone home at all. So why now?
Yeah, I like that. Proof you're a wizard, or we'll
Yeah.
just keep
Oh,
hitting you with
wow.
stones, right?
Oh shit. Yeah. It's like maybe you hear the cat calling from like around the area. Like we can't see them, but they're like kind of like hidden under hellhawks or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and then just kind of lobbing you as we walk past. Um, all right. So yeah, you want to speak some magic words?
Do you want to start, Terith? Throw a magic word down.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, let's see, what would be helpful for Udor? I want to, well, let me ask you something, Udor. Do you want to hurt them with something big, or do you just want to drive them away?
I don't want to hurt them, like
Okay,
because I think with Udor's magic and like what I have in my list, none of my stuff hurts people, and
okay,
so if you try to hurt someone, I can't really build off on that.
perfect. Okay, so basically, what I'm gonna offer you is Tis, which is, hold on, let me pull it out. Yeah, Tis, whatever, however you want to say it, is gale wind. So you can kind of deflect the stones. They're not huge. They're enough to hurt, but they're not like you know um, fist size or anything like that. Um, so yeah, I give you Tis to play with.
I think since this is me coming home, I think I'm going to use Burr as like sort of like homeliness. So like just to give them a sense of me supposed to be here. So
Um, and I think um, hmm, I think I'll give Iser, which quells an emotion. So um, that kind of jealousy or envy or fear that is in your friends or siblings or whoever's hearts um, is going to be quelled, and then like that sense of homeliness comes through.
I guess you would decide in what order you want to speak these words too. So
like I think in terms of like the order, like I think Tis, so like rocks are stopped being thrown at me. Um of just like deflection as were and to like gain attention. Um is there to like calm them down to be more open to listen, and then Burr to like make sure like everything's smooth on out.
Okay. Uh, so you roll 3d6 and you're looking for an e6.
Okay. Um Highest was a 4.
okay, weak.
So the spell is weak and only partially effective. You describe how the problem is solved, but only partially or temporarily.
Are these your drama dice, chaotic, or is these like new dice?
Only one was a drama dice, and the other two typically roll well, um, but however, it was not good enough.
They were talking to the drama die. You should stop that. You should.
It's infected them. Is that what you're saying?
Seriously, they chaotic was rolling last night and rolling like ass. Excuse my language. So
Okay. I've gotten rid of my cotton candy colored dice, which are beautiful, but however extremely cursed. And then I got my mostly green and black dice.
Again, we're not saying curse. We're just saying full of dramatic
It's
whatever the
cur
hell you.
it's cursed. Like I rolled like double ones.
I
Okay.
mean, you know what they say. I'm not sure if we are in the shame your dice or destroy your dice when they misbehave, but those are the two
Dice jail
things we can
obviously doesn't
do.
work.
Yeah, I have a dice coffin, and
Ah,
that doesn't work.
no.
No.
I mean, how do you know? Once you put them in there, they're dead and they never roll again. But
Oh,
you
I should have
must
worn my
strike.
Schrodinger
You
shirt.
need you need to bring all the other dice to that dice a funeral and make them afraid.
Oh my god, a dice. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
I want to
So
see that
yes,
dice
chaotic.
funeral.
It's up to you.
Yeah, like I think that the rock stars stopped being thrown and just like I think we hear whispers about like, oh, it's Udor again. Like and just sort of there's like they sort of like move on from us, but like yeah, Udor can't really go home again. Like we can pass through safely through these lands, but it's just like, yeah, we're not staying here. Sorry, folks. You got my bad reputation now.
Is this because like the display of magic is so powerful that now they're like genuinely afraid of this magic, or is it he's they're mean and we don't
Um,
like that.
it's more like we can't do anything against Udor directly, but and just so they're just going to give a cold shoulder because like uh despite everything, Udor is not a fighter and won't fight on this. He he's not cruel in any sense of the word.
I think Tareth will come over to you and then just kind of put a hand on both shoulders, on each shoulder, and just look at you. And, are you all right? Are you are you fine? I mean, you got hit by one of the stones. Are you okay?
It's fine. I've been hit harder before. We shouldn't linger here too long because they may regroup and bring larger rocks.
Well, I have something for that if that's the case. But yes, let's keep going. And yeah, we'll hurry along a little bit faster. Um,
Yes. This is why I left home to begin with.
I can
They
see
do
that.
many people do not care for me. It's just what it is. I refuse to conform to the abstracts of society. Its maliciousness about speaking in practical manners instead of what brings you joy in life and drama.
So you didn't want to tend goats.
No, I wanted to build a goat army, and that is considered bad for some reason. If we gather all the goats in one place, we shall not lose the goats. And ghosts are soft and fluffy. But no, we have to spread them out, make sure that they don't eat in all in one spot, which is unfortunate. But I decided to pursue other careers in my life, and well, they called them fruitless, whimsical. It is whimsical, but no one understands the whimsy, magic. And I think like as I do this, I just make little golden sparkles.
I think Tareth will have a little smile on their face and just kind of looks over at Almir. I guess we should go.
I mean, our letters were very odd. That's all I can say.
Almir also struggles to make friends, so and I like Almir well enough. For we are into this together, us against the world.
Whereas my love of the practical and profane is, I go too far in the other direction. People don't like that either. Okay, so Karak, you choose one of these three cards to give to one of us, and the other two go in the bin.
I think I'm gonna give Tareth Izar.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
So probably time for a break.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, so we're back, and we are due another turn. Karak, it's your turn now. So
Okay.
we'll restart with a location card.
Oh, no need to click it twice. Tomb of Leyla Glass. Tradition and ceremony?
What are your thoughts about that?
Which I find completely ironic considering Eudor had been about like not conforming. uh,
Irony has a sense of, dramatic irony has a sense of irony every so often.
what if it's a memorial of some sort with a plaque saying that maybe she was one of the original founders of Fracture, and any travelers who pass here leaving Fracture must do something in the name of tradition and ceremony. What would that be? And why would that be a problem? That's the question. Um, and a and a question and a problem that requires magic to solve
Well,
that.
well, this is just the location, right? So
Oh, okay.
we don't know what
So
the
we
problem is yet.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think this is. I just have in my mind that this is more a roadside shrine,
Hmm.
like like the current like area we're going through is like a sort of plains with like lots of grass waving in the wind, and there is like this sort of stone shrine, and instead of it being like really solid pieces, it's like stack stones up holding as pillars and just like some slabs laid across it's and just like it's it's of a decent size. Like you can like fit inside it, but it's like you have to crouch down and like be really low to the ground and it just fits for one person. So like it's not a place that you can really stay at.
So
But
like
if
a passage tomb.
mhm.
So you think there's like a an alignment here which is interesting to us and maybe imminent, or maybe there's just signs that people have visited here for a specific time of the year.
Yeah, I think there's like signs of like just people visiting it here because like I think at certain like spots around the area is like melted wax. So just because we're not about tradition and ceremony doesn't mean like other people are not.
So Udor, what what stories did have you heard about this place?
Is that just for Udor or for Tereth too?
Well, I was asking Udor because they
Yeah,
are
oh,
from
okay.
around here.
Oh
But
yeah.
if maybe Tareth has heard some as well.
Mm, it's more or less a it's considered bad luck to mess about this place. Like you have to be very respectful because you don't want to get yourself haunted by any ghosts or what have you. That's why people light candles so that the ghosts of Leyla class can find her way home, as it were.
So I think Almair, puts his pack on the ground and starts rooting through it because, I'm sure there's a candle in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think I think Tereth will of course have some sort of stylus and like a tablet of sorts, but then we'll also have a candle or two to be able to make any marks. Um, yeah, can see that.
Do you think we're due a problem now?
Yeah, I think we're about to do a problem.
You'll see how psychic this problem deck is when it's a
Especially
ghost. And
because
it's
your magic's profane, so I'm just curious to see what happens. What is this?
the Great Herd. I mean, this is the time the goats have been waiting for, right?
Oh shit!
Oh no!
No! Oh dear. Oh no, I'm sorry. Oh goat.
Yeah.
Ah,
I have no idea how to handle this oncoming goat herd.
oh my god. And unfortunately, all that's in my head right now is the song from Sound of Music. Because I'm weird. Ugh.
The hills are alive with the sound of music.
No, no. High on the hills, a lonely goat herd. Da 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 da
Uh,
da da. Anyway, sorry. Um, would we want to say that it's like we start to see as we're trying to pay our respects that over one of the rolling hills, like we see heads pop up and not human heads, like they're all of the goats that we saw kind of meandering over the valley, and now they seem to be honing in on us here at the cairn.
mhm.
Do we want to say that's the problem?
Yeah, I think that the problem is just like the goats knocking this structure over. Like,
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
yeah, because like
Um,
there's just a lot of goats. Udor is just thrilled at seeing goats.
do you think maybe the gale that kind of quell the emotion in Udor's people earlier had some knock-on effect with the goats, right? Kind of that
Oh
wrapped
no.
up their dream of bringing them all together. Like,
Oh no. I love it. Yes. Yes, indeed.
sorry, Carrick, you're saying like the problem is that the Great Herd is going to like trample this too and
Hmm.
curse us all with disturbing Layla Glass's rest, right?
Yeah,
Oh man. No,
we
we
get
don't want that.
we get haunted.
We don't
Yeah,
want that.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this definitely affects us all. So I think we definitely all need to, excuse me, contribute. Um,
So do you want to start with Udor's word?
Uh, because I don't know what word I would use in this circumstance because I have yarn, which is to take on another's burden. Uh, at Simimore, which is unexpected regrowth, which I don't think applies at all. Yor, which gives Persis, and Dalmar, which is to heal. So I don't know how to deal with goats in this situation.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, goats are hungry buggers in my experience. So if there was an unexpected regrowth of, thistles, gorse, and
Mm,
other bushes in between them and the tomb, they might just stop for lunch.
Mm,
okay.
that sounds good.
I don't want to. um,
If you do that, I have an idea for my word to add to help.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
okay, go ahead and put Simmeror in the cards, and then I will add my word.
um,
I'm gonna add Le, which is the life harmony energy. So more life adding to the growth, regrowth, kind of helping create like a very plush, very dense amount of you know wild flora. Yeah, I guess whatever's here to kind of like not only block their way, give them lunch, but also make it very thick and verdant. So this way, it's like they will be busy for a little bit. At least that's the hope.
I'm going to throw in Scintilla, which which means a sympathetic connection. I think from the stories we've heard of Leyla Glass, they were like I don't know, particularly uh, they were protective of travelers, and they were like a prickly person in terms of their personality. And I think all of the plants that grow here are those kind of hardy, thorny hillside things like briars and thistles. And yeah, I think it's kind of like almost like a fitting addition to the two.
Mm. So, what order should they go in? Like, do we want the connection before with the goats to happen before the plant growth?
Um,
Well, you could say them out loud too. Scintilla Simmeror Lay, or Scintilla Lay Simmeror, or Scintilla Simmeror Lay. I just forgot, like, what the hell that sequence was. We can even put them in order. Like, how or Le Cimaror Scintilla. So, what sounds nice?
Yeah, I mean, I think almost any order might work in this case. I don't think there's a direct line of cause and effect. Not in my mind, at least. Okay, so guess we should roll, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, did we roll out of sequence last time?
I think so, because
Okay.
I mean, like, it affected
Oh
Udor
yeah,
when I picked up the cards.
yeah, yeah. I think that was what we did. But um, so it's supposed to be when it's your turn, you roll the dice and you kind of pick
Oh,
who it goes to.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but that's okay. It doesn't make a huge difference. Mads, do you want to do it so in this case?
Okay.
mhm.
Sure.
So we get a fair whack of it.
Yeah. Fair whack at it. Oh yeah. All right. Got a 6. All right.
Ooh.
So, spell is successful, and the current player describes how the problem is solved. Uh, is that is is
Oh
that
yeah.
Udor's?
So if we gave Kianak your turn last, then maybe if it makes sense, you
Yeah.
could take this one and also decide who gets the word.
Okay. Uh,
I mean, I don't mind. Like,
yeah,
uh,
like
if
because
you don't mind, yeah, I don't mind.
yeah, I know like I went sort of last, even though last times, even though I wasn't supposed to go because it just seemed to
Be
fit. Because
appropriate.
yeah, so I'm fine with Tareth taking the lead on this one, just to keep things
Okay.
fair.
Okay. Um. Yeah. So I think. Yeah. I think. Let's see. Yeah. I think it'll be Le Cimaror Scintilla, and then the life or active energy is feeding into the growth that is created from Udor's part of the spell, which connects to the cairn to be protective and be part of that life energy, and the thistles and such, and weeds or grasses that are around the cairn are starting to grow at an at a exponential rate, and it almost creates this prickly yet soft and plush carpet of plant life and flora that just kind of stops the goats in their tracks as in their charge, and they're just like, then we hear from the loud baas or neigh or the goat sounds, we end up hearing munching, lots and lots of munching, and the cairn is actually, what's funny is the fact that we can see it's affected like in a circle around the cairn mausoleum, and it's like it's recreating itself. It's growing as the goats are munching on it. So there'll be a while. So conceivably this will be fine. And it's tied into the protection of the cairn, so it looks like it's not gonna go away suddenly, or that they're going to be um, breaking into it anytime soon. So I think Tareth looks at you both and just says, "Well, I guess this will be a new tradition." Making your way through the undergrowth and paying your respects. I think we should go. And yeah, so let's see. I'm gonna say. Yeah, I'm gonna give Lay to to Almir, and then the other two can go into the back pile over here. Yeah.
Okay. So we're back around to me.
Mhm.
Browser is not functioning. Okay. My back. No, my browser is still deciding to do something. Okay.
Okay.
So next location is Celestial Caverns, and the prompt is a dangerous mistake.
Okay.
Um,
Gulp.
Gulp. Oh my god.
So I think we get out of this valley, and maybe or rather we're exiting this valley, um, and part of the kind of the pass that we are going through is actually like a tunnel of some sort, and inside that tunnel is obviously a natural cave that they've maybe dug a tunnel through and from, um, and these caverns, like the stalactites, are luminescent in some way, and the kind of pattern they describe is that of the constellations. Um, and I think this is maybe something that's been described to us in the past, but maybe something that um, we never believed. It was like, oh sure, yeah, sure you did. Whatever, pal. Um, I'm not quite sure what a dangerous mistake is yet. Um,
I do have an idea for that.
oh,
Yeah.
go on.
I think it's less of a dangerous mistake on our parts, but rather the cavern formation themselves wasn't it was never really meant to be a thing. I think uh checking safety because this is kind of a little bit body horror-esque because I think this reason it is a celestial cavern is more or less this is the body of an angel at one point. And like sort of the idea of like the stalactites is sort of like almost like a rib cage almost esque of like just traveling here. And I think like just the general blase like travel through this area, I think it's just like things happened very long ago. And I don't think many people remember why things are the way they are. But it's a tragedy that this body is being treated like this.
Do you want to add anything for Terith?
Just that it's very ethereally beautiful here, even though it's. I mean, are we underground or is it just a
Mm-hmm.
cavern above? Okay. Yeah, I think It's like looking into the night sky, and they say that, out loud. How it's like almost mirroring what you would see on a clear day, which maybe there aren't that many in Fracture, but this is just something further outside of our experience that Tareth would like to see more of, and just kind of contemplates it a little bit, and also cries for like a tear kind of falls just for how beautiful this is, and if it's created from, well, something beyond us, I guess.
Yeah, let's see what the problem is. Okay, the problem is a hungering fog.
Oh no.
And after the spell, each participating player loses an additional word. Um,
Oh shit.
yeah.
Oh,
Um, do you think maybe so when you like chaotic when you like when we talk about this is like the body of an angel and that's a
Mhm.
terrible mistake. Do you think that's something we know, or we just have a sense of this kind of otherworldliness of this place as we pass through it?
I think it's a sense of like otherworldliness. And I think even though the body has been here for a long time, I think almost this hungering fog is sort of the breath of the angel,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's sort of what consumes us. I think the way that it portrays like as a problem is that we ourselves are being drained as sort of like being, yeah.
I mean, maybe we do something that kind of um, sparks the angel to kind of revive or awaken in some way. So, like maybe a song, or maybe um, one of us is like practicing a magical rote, you know,
Mhm.
that kind of creates this hunger.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I guess we have gone straight to some kind of I don't know, Spire-esque horror. Um, but yeah, I think that's awesome. So um, let me think. What do I have? Uh, oh, okay. So I think I will start with Alka, which purifies or purges. And I think maybe um, this prevents the angel from seeing us as like a corrupt influence inside us, like a foreign body, if you will. Um, and so that we are only kind of giving it some of its our magical energy instead of our entire selves, right?
I think I'll add Delmar uh, on it because this is sort of like healing magic of just trying to ease like what's going on.
So are we trying to sorry, are we trying to feed it or are we trying to what's the word?
I mean, not getting eaten was, I guess,
Hmm.
my
Got it,
Yeah,
got it, got it, got it,
my
got it, got
yeah,
it.
my thought.
yeah. I'm using like healing magic on us to like sort of sustain us.
Oh,
So
okay,
like
gotcha, gotcha.
so
All right. Oh man. Oh. Cuz yeah, I mean if this is draining us, it's like, I think Tareth wants to give it something else to think about or, this entity to consume to take the heat off of us essentially. You know what? I'm going to throw an Andon. A lightning strike with a booming cry like saying, "Hello, we're here. Just take this and not us." So, I don't know if you want to consider this helping or hindering. It's pretty much up to you. Um, yeah.
But is that like inside this cavern, or is that like outside to kind of distract? What's the?
I think yeah, I think that seems fair. I mean, like, but what you'll end up seeing, like, when the word is spoken, is that you're going to see it's kind of like an arc of lightning, like bolt from Tareth's eyes onto their hands, and then you'll hear the booming cry slash strike hit outside of the cavern, like above us.
Mhm.
But it's loud enough that we can hear it where we are. Yeah. But again, I don't know if you want to consider that helping or hindering.
Well, you decide actually if
Oh, I
you know
do? Okay.
if you are
Um,
helping or hindering. But
I
I'm
want to say helping.
yeah.
I mean, I do want to say helping because I mean, like again, I'm trying to take some of that hunger off of us and distract it for the big ball of juicy lightning energy that's happening outside.
Okay. So I'll put them in this order: Andun, Alka, Dalmar, and I
Nice.
think that kind of arc lightning that comes into the cavern, and maybe kind of touches off the 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 constellation of stalactites. Is what sparks this whole. So I guess it dissipates the fog a little bit just by dint of that energy, but then um, that that kind of identifies that maybe as the foreign thing that has to be consumed, and then we are not seeing. We are kind of just exiting and then being healed, so that we are not completely consumed by this reviving angel.
Right.
And let me think. Uh, I think we. I think I'll give Dalmar to Terrace.
Hmm.
Uh, not not their usual routine, but maybe an interesting side effect of almost being consumed by an angel. uh,
But we still
we
lose like an
yeah.
extra one, right?
So
Okay.
I'm gonna roll the dice and we'll see how this works out for us.
Okay.
Yes, I got a 6.
mm,
Nice.
So yeah, I think I had a great idea for what would happen, if it wasn't complete, but
We're such drama hams, I swear.
yeah, the dice said no, that's too much.
Oh my
Um,
god.
yeah, I think the angel is distracted and gets its metaphorical claws into us to maybe take some of the magic out of us, but then that arc lightning
I
distracts
know.
it and gives it this kind of um, other thing to chase down. But the energy in that is just too fleeting for it to actually revive itself. It's a flash in the pan, and not something like us that might have truly revived us. Um,
Right.
so yeah, I guess we're losing another. I mean, I think it makes sense for me to lose Lay, the life harmony energy word, because that's what it's just sucked out of me.
Gotcha. Yeah, true.
Unfortunately.
Right.
I gave up Yarn, which is to take on another's burden. So,
Oh, wait, I got a cross off hand. Sorry, I lost that. Give me
mm,
a second. All right. And then, you know what? I'm gonna say that Ezer was taken away. So, gonna mark that off. Because I think in a weird way, I think because of the experience, I think Terith reacted in fear as well. Like that sucking, draining feeling is something that they have not felt before. And it was scary. And yeah, they were just reacting. And so, yeah,
Okay, awesome.
will not have that support for later on. Oh boy.
Okay, so Tareth, you're. I think we can maybe do this now instead of taking a break. What you think?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's move on to a new location, Tareth.
Okay. Give me a second. Just want to move this up. All right. And then location. Dread Forest. What we share. Oh man. I'm terrible because once I start reading prompts, then I start thinking of movies. I already have a movie in mind of what I see. Damn. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Yeah, I think as we come out of the celestial caverns and the vision of leaving the beauty, but yet the fright behind, and then we see like actual stars up ahead, but then also like what looks like a sprawling forest in this darkness. I guess it's nighttime here in this particular section, and we see the silhouette of like maybe twisty vines or gnarled branches, and then just kind of like the tight canopy above. And I think, especially after our experience out in the celestial cavern, I want to say, and you can tell me if this is okay or not. I feel like we're now bunching up a little bit closer, maybe. Like like not being spread apart or like walking abreast. Maybe like we're kind of like in our group, like being very wary as we enter this next section and just looking towards path ahead. Um, Again, dim, dark. We can feel the crunch of leaves or some kind of dry material underneath our feet. And there is some kind of a path where there's not that many trees along a certain way. And maybe it's windy. And I think here, as we entered this place, I think maybe we share a thought or two of either thinking back on fracture or thinking on what we expect to find when we are in the wider world.
Do you think like we share this in conversation, or are these leaky thoughts that we mightn't want other people to hear in their own minds?
Um, what do you think? I mean, Does it make sense that we would have had some sort of like residual telepathic connection because of the way we were drained by the angel? Or, I think Tareth is perfectly happy to be a little bit more vocal at
Yeah,
this
yeah. It
point.
was just a
Just
thought that I had.
yeah, no, no, no. I mean, like it's kind of cool. I'm just like trying to think of like what makes sense coming out of where we did. I mean, I think they're very chatty in comparison to how they were before, and just spewing, and it just felt like couldn't hold myself up by my own two legs, and we were going to be consumed by this entity, and just we wouldn't have the words left. We wouldn't have the magic left. How are you two dealing with this? You seem so calm.
Do you think whoever built that tunnel knew what was there? Like that's what I'm thinking. Did someone mean for us to go there and bring that thing back?
I don't think so. I just sometimes you try to do what's best in life and you make mistakes. Uh, I can't be too angry for someone being hungry. I can't be too angry about someone looking underneath a thing that they shouldn't look under. Uh, I it's not really anyone's fault, but we're here now. We all got out all right. Let's keep moving forward because, well, there's more things to do out in this world.
I mean, I'm not blaming the thing for trying to eat us because you wake up you're hungry, but uh, I'm blaming whoever built that tunnel,
Mm.
and I'm wondering whether that's what they wanted to happen or whether they were just thoughtless when they built through
Mm.
that cavern.
If I think about it too hard, then I don't feel like I can go on. So I'm going to say what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Yeah, I mean, like, they see Eudor make the thumbs up sign. It's awesome. And we'll actually again bring you two closer if you're okay with that, and like like one arm like entwined with each, and just kind of be like, I think we should stick together as we make our way further forward. So
Yep. Nothing can stop us now.
and yeah, Tareth has a little bit of a worried look on their face, but I mean, like, just kind of like, yeah, yeah, that's the hope. All right, let's bring up a problem. What?
Oh,
What? This spell may not be longer than two. Oh, shisha. Okay, I have an idea for this. I think as you're saying, nothing can stop us now. Of course, I think we make our way into a clearing that's like seems to be lit up like from underneath. Like maybe there's some glowy moss, or maybe backlit from a fire or something like that. And it is of a wedding. It is of a wedding that is here. Um, but I don't think that they are creatures we necessarily recognize. We recognize the ceremony, which is very similar to, a wedding. Someone officiating, like maybe like, two creatures, like, looking at each other and looking very, um, you know, heartfelt and such. But these are creatures that we would not be expecting to be married. What do we see? Each of you, like, give one creature.
I think one of the creatures is definitely a frog.
Okay.
I think one of the creatures is a tree. It's like entish, maybe, is
Okay.
how we might see it. I'm not sure if it's moving or if it's like stuck in the ground in the middle
Mm,
of this dread forest, but
right. And I think the wedding guests are of different types. I mean, like maybe what look like masked, like, fae, maybe some more frogs, maybe a toad here and there, like looking pretty opulent, wearing jewels and such. And like, trees and dryads and all this kind of stuff, like, kind of like, unattended. And I think those that are in the back as the officiant, who I'm going to say is a cat, just because. Um, is officiating. I think one of the guests in the back sees us and then says, "Ah, you've come upon the grand wedding of the Palimpsest Torrents and their spouse to be, the Drianus of the forest. To attend, you must give a tithe. What will you give, if not your life?"
Oh no.
That's a
Uh,
problem that requires magic, and we can only
eh,
use the spell like no longer than 2 words. Oh boy, which 2 words?
so do you think there's a reason that one of us cannot use their magic?
Yes, because I think what ends up happening is like I'm gonna like let's just say it like right there. So the person that creature that's saying what you need to give a tithe, and what else would you give but your life? That person is now like magically snatched from the group, and then now is like looking like they're sitting in a chair, bound to watch the wedding. Um, so
so-
the other two have to get them out of it. So
okay.
The
who
plus
do we
ones
think
are
is
very
stuck?
complicated in a Sylvan wedding.
Yes, yes, yes. So who do we think is stuck, and who do we think, and who's left to give the word, to give the words? That's the question. Oh boy. I'm just looking at like what's left.
Well,
Uh, I do have an idea of what to give as the two words.
Okay.
I know, uh, because like we need to give a tithe that is equivalent to, of like a life, and
Okay.
so like this is an item that really needs to be given purpose. And since this is a wedding, I think Udor is looking through the bags and is like trying to pull out like little bits and bobs and finds like a like a ring, and Udor will use the word jor to give purpose to the ring.
Okay. And then what's the other word that you were thinking? Like who's got the other word?
Um, I think since this is a generally very unlucky situation, I wonder if like a he Hecator?
All right, so that means Tareth is that is drawn into the wedding. So I think even though like Tareth like had you two by the arms, I think as soon as that creature said it, it's like what would you give but a life? I mean, literally, it's like Tareth has been sucked down into the ground and then pops back up as seated by like other creatures, and then is just looking around like trying to find you two and doesn't see you.
so I think, yeah, maybe Hekato is. I mean, maybe it's not so much for us as for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they live in a dread forest, and everything that is formed here is doomed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the Hekato part of this spell kind of reverses that natural inclination for this event.
Wow.
Mhm.
So cool.
Um, so I guess you've got 2 dice to play with.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. So that would be drawer Hecato and then 2 dice. God.
No
Okay.
sixes.
No sixes. The spell is weak and only partially effective. Oh my god. How it's
Oh,
solved and only partially or temporarily. Oh fuck. I think maybe there's a very, very temporary reprieve where as you two say the words together, that the ceremony seems to go like it seems to brighten up in this dread forest at night. It seems like things are opening up a little bit more, like you see the trees like ungnarl themselves, you see like people kind of looking, or people, the creatures looking at each other like what is going on, or looking around like wait, where did that light come from, or what have you. And so I think Tareth is finally able to see you two and will stumble out from the guest seats and, clutch at you desperately. It's like, we need to go right now. And then you start to see as Tareth makes their way back to you that the light is starting to dim again and then darkness is starting to encroach
mhm,
and things tighten up again. We need to go.
mhm.
And yeah.
And
And what
then
was the
you,
thing? Yeah, only the two
because
two
there was
words.
2 words used, you still get to give one of those words to one of us.
Sure. Um, just for funsies, going to give Hecato to Udor, who thinks everything will be great. Everything will be fine. It'll be wonderful. Yeah, sure. So yeah, go ahead and take Hecato, and then yeah, put the other one away. Oh my gosh, too funny.
Freaky.
Freaky. We stumble
Uh,
out of there.
yeah, we get out of
Very
there.
relieved.
So yeah, let's take a break.
Yep.
I will draw a location card so we know what's coming next.
Okay.
Just it's the Fae Isles, Dreams of Another Journey.
Of
Mm.
course.
Of
Of
course it
course it
is.
is.
Okay, we're back and uh, arriving at the Fae Isles. Um, so this is your turn, Chaotic.
Yes. I think I think the Fae Isles is less of like a series of islands, but more rather like the beach side and like some sandbanks and just some wondrous like floral sort of things. They almost seem more coral like than actual like tropical plants, but they're above the water. And I think they just like every so often let off little like spores of like fairy dust and what have you. And like I think because of like how draining of a journey we've been through, I think we're just gonna lay on down like underneath like one of these bigger trees, quote unquote, and take like a good rest. And I think it's just we start to have dreams. Almir, what do you dream of?
Um, I dream that I start burrowing into the sand here, and I find a like this giant shell, um, and I climb into it like I'm a hermit crab. And inside the shell, there's this kind of spiral writing, which I start to decipher, but which it's that kind of dream sense of I know exactly what it means during the dream, and it's like, oh, this is going to change magic forever. And then when I wake up, it's like gone, or obviously nonsense, or a mix of that. The more I try to remember, the more like sand through my fingers it is.
Aerith, what do you dream of?
Tareth will lay down and then leave their face to the sun as much as possible because after being in the celestial caverns in the dark and then the dread forest and the creepy um, stillness or the chaos of the wedding, it's just nice to be in some place that actually has some kind of warmth. And they dream of making it over the Fae Isles and seeing what is on the wider world, and then seeing where in the distance it's raining somewhere with dark clouds, and in other places it's shining sun just like this, and in other places it's storming but in a different way where the lightning looks blue and red, and then another place that just looks like it's shrouded in mist and seems to be high up into mountains beyond uh, vision. And beyond that is a night sky that shines with stars of constellations that Tareth has no idea what they are, but they seem to make pictures of monsters, cosmic mists of gods, and just feeling a bit overwhelmed by it all and not seeing anyone else and just being very small and alone in this place, in this dream.
Udor dreams about goats, and just that this one little goat seems to have gotten itself lost, and Udor goes looking for it, searching over hill and dale, and eventually finding this goat sort of turned over, stuck in like a briar bush, and like Udor picks it up and starts carrying on their back, and we hear thunder in the distance, and it starts to rain, and lightning keeps on getting closer, striking even nearer and nearer. And after one particular strike, Udor like is startled and like leaps to the ground as Udor does, and is just covered in mud, but he laughs because, well, he's home. And let's go see our problem. A game between giants. Oh no.
No. Oh boy.
There's your problem
Yes.
right there.
I
Oh.
think I think we are awakened to like a bit of a wave of just like us like getting soaked with like seawater, and as like we see like this giant stone ball and we hear these thumping thumping as like a hand reaches down to pick it up again once again to like throw. These giants are playing catch and they don't really have good aim, so
Are they playing like with the islands as their ball, or do you think the islands are like, I don't know, their heads or something that they are just standing up as we are sleeping
I
on top of them?
I think they're I think because of like this sort of rocket sort of play, like I think it's just that the waves keep getting higher and higher because they're getting more into the game, and like we stand a chance of just being washed away. Uh,
Well, I have but one word left to give.
I mean, I'm
uh,
pretty sure I'm gonna be using moving earth to kind of help with the like a what is it, a breakwater?
no,
You know?
yeah, I'm probably also going to be using uh Hecato just to give us a little bit of an extra luck.
Um, so if I use Quadrione, which uh, which means measure or decipher, I think maybe this helps us to decipher the rules of this game somehow, um, and maybe that helps us pick our moment, right?
Okay. Okay. I like it. Yeah, that's a word that should go first because like, you're helping measure the right moment and then however you think that you want to um, make the last two words work.
I
The
think it,
door.
I think it's measuring the right moment and then making sure our luck is in play and then doing the actual action of moving the earth so
Mhm.
like we're out of the way.
Okay. So
Okay, three
you get
dice.
three dice. Three
Eh,
dice. Three
and
dice.
I'm not using my curse dice. Oh god. Uh thankfully it's six.
Oh, okay.
I my other two dice were a two and a one, so that's why I had my heart stopped because the six on this dice is a blank side.
Uh,
Oh, holy shit. Oh man. Yeah, I would have heart. I would just like heart murmur. There you go. Oh god. All right. Well, 1-6 is all we need, so that's good. So how are we successful? How does it look?
I think like by deciphering the rules, we were able to tell like what's out of bounds in terms of this, and just generally we are able to like. I think this is a large display as we move the aisles themselves to like a safer spot.
Nice.
And I'm going to give Relbor to Almir.
okay, so I guess we're kind of a little bit short circuiting so that we can finish on time. So we're not probably doing the last location next. We're gonna cut to the end. Uh, so so I guess we've gone as far as we're gonna go in our journey. We in turn share what we've learned about magic over the course of our journey, and then in reverse order we like go back through our locations and describe what we see as we take the path home. Um, so I guess I would start then. What have I learned about magic? Um, I mean, it would seem that magical is all powerful until you add it to the foolishness of youth and direct action. And maybe the folks back back in Fracture, maybe they've all done this thing in their youth. Maybe this is just the way people end up a little bit um, world weary and keeping to themselves. Um, yeah, maybe that's what Almir learns about magic. It's not quite the panacea he thought.
I think Tareth learns that, yeah, it's the wider world's not all that it's cracked up to be. I mean, the possibility of losing, their energy, being trapped, being like, left alone if things don't work out. I think it's easier in a way to just deal with the magic that is fading or breaking up and then seeing if there's a way to make it better. Going back home where we know where things are, we know how people react, and also be able to work together in concert and try to collaborate to, again, make it better instead of trying to run away and find out if it's even possible to find yeah uh, a better place. So
I think Udor thinks that the world is much more magical than where they've come from and much more wonderful. Even though there's a lot of problems out here, they can be fixed and they can be helped as long as you have your friends near your side.
Okay, so we're gonna retrace our steps. um, so we start with Udor, and then you describe what you see. I mean, obviously it's the Fae Isles, which we've kind of just
Mm-mm.
just left, but maybe the rearview mirror or whatever, the backward glance.
Yeah,
Um,
I think one of the since we're going back home and like we've been discussing that like, well, you can't really go any further than this. This is like we're at like the sort of edge of like the sort of like the land because like there's nothing but ocean any further and we don't have a boat. So we should go home. I think Udor is just like gathering like like a pocket full of like sand and like fairy dust and just like is gonna take it back home because like we need souvenirs. It's been a wonderful trip. um but I think we actually leave around about sunset. This a very good end to a nice day, quote unquote.
do you want me to go on to the next
Mhm.
yeah, so
Yeah.
location?
we go back through the journey. I've just laid them out so that we can read
Okay,
them all
great.
clearly.
Sure. And I think this time we're going through the Dread Forest a lot more warily than we had. Just looking out for traps like that, pockets that could, you know, get us caught up in others' business, or just seeing how the ecosystem here in the Dread Forest works. And yeah, I think we see, like, maybe the signs of the wedding revelry from far away behind other trees. But then, like, I think we also see, like, wildlife here, the fauna, like, making their way. Maybe we hear, like, some snatches of pipe song, and then maybe we see some strange birds like up in the canopy, um, you know, uh, in the setting sun of going through the Dread Forest. It's actually very nice to be able to see this, and the gnarled trees and the undergrowth aren't quite as scary.
Um, I think we I think we go over the mountain pass instead of passing through the celestial caverns. But as we can see in the distance this kind of crystalline eruptions from like on top of the mountain, and maybe a little bit further in the distance, like on that hillock there is this I don't know, spoked wheel or spiked crown or something like that. That very much tells us that um, the regeneration is slow but steady.
I think in in the area of the tomb of Layla Glass, I don't think the goats are any or are there still. I think they've moved on. But however, the briars, the thistles, they have like overgrown the area, so it's less of a plains, but more of like the beginnings of like a small forest, and it's just very nice. And I think Udor is whistling, and I think as we travel through, I think we just hear another song in the distance being whistled back.
And I think in Thunder Valley, I think we go along the path again over the rolling hills. We are not accosted by anyone, but we do see the goats in the distance. I mean, like as they have like with full bellies, they're gambling along, and we are on the path. We're walking, and then we kind of look over, and then we see maybe like them in groups in their herds. Maybe some of the baby goats are like leaping and chasing each other or skipping along, and then we're just kind of seeing this um, scene in the burgeoning twilight, I guess. I mean, like as it gets darker, but the stars, strange stars, come out in the sky. There's still that distant rumble of thunder, though, even though we don't see any clouds in the sky.
Um, as we climb up to Oblivion and set our eyes on Fracture once more, I think there's something we remember something about Fracture that we had kind of forgotten. Something, a nostalgia, maybe.
Mhm.
Something we'll be glad of um, when we get there. And finally, we each. Um, so it says write a short phrase on our index card that starts with "My words are" to indicate how your words have changed through sharing. Um, I think I can start. I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I think my words are still profane, but more like they're practical or like jury rigged. You know, if I'm using a magic based on something else, I'm adapting it.
I think Tareth's words have gone not out of order, but I think when they're said, it's almost like a whisper of some other words that are creating this shadow effect around them and in them. So when they call Calum, the torrent maybe has some purpose and finds the nearest bed of flowers to nourish. Or maybe, the next time that they use Lay has a a dampening effect, but in a comforting way to quell someone's emotion if it's too much or too intense. And so this feeling of the words changing, of being more than what they initially were, and more than just being elemental. Maybe they are more emotional now. Maybe they are more comforting.
I think the way that Udor goes about his words is that they are more wonderful. They're less brash shouts, but more artistic expressions of himself. And I think people start to appreciate Udor more.
Okay, so that's the end of the game. Um, I think the change in our magic is probably as good an epilogue as we might otherwise do.
Yeah.
So I think I'll stop the recording and we'll do a quick debrief.